Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here and happy Sunday. I don't know what I did with my phone. I need to find my phone. Let me see if I can find my live stream. Make sure I need you to tell me if you can hear me, if you can see me. I'm actually going to my channel right now.
Let's go, girls.
Let's mute me. Sorry, guys. I've been running around this morning and yeah. Anyway, I hope you can see me. I hope you can hear me. Post in the chat and let me know. We're going to be talking about vet visits today, and Kim does not like, if you can hear, I'm sure you can hear her in the background. So it is Sunday. It is June 20th. It is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, including my husband, who is a father. And yeah, okay, looks like you can see me at least. Let me unmute myself. Been running around. Yes, okay. So you can see me, you can hear me. Wonderful. Okay, so I've just been like running around like crazy this morning. Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about vet visits, and so let's do a little bit of housekeeping, and I'll tell you why I chose this topic, and we'll get into everything. It is actually, what is the title? Going to the Vet, 8 Secrets to Utopian Vet Visits. So that's the title of today's video. A couple of things. One, I think I have, let me get my list. Okay. I'm recording all day today. I have like all of these videos to record today. But I'm looking at my calendar for June and July. Today is the 20th. So I've got 2 more Sundays we're going to have lives. And then on the 11th of July, we're not going to have a live. I'm going to have a video go up, a published video. And then I should be back live on the 18th. Like, let's cross our fingers that we can get back live on the 18th, because you guys probably know we're moving. That's the plan, at least. We did have our closing pushed back once already. Like, seriously, fingers crossed that doesn't happen again, because we have everything set up and in line to go ahead and move this time. So yeah. If you have any comments or questions during this live video, make sure to post them in the chat. If you're watching this after the fact, if you're watching the replay, you can post in the comments. I am active on YouTube. I answer as many comments and questions as I possibly can. But if you're on here live, my goal is to answer all of your questions. And actually, where is this? Yeah, so my goal is to answer all of your questions live that you post me. And if you have any requests for videos, let me know, because I have a bunch that I am recording today, but I don't always have the lives planned out too far in advance. So if you have a request for a video, maybe I can do it on a live. That would be wonderful if you could let me know that. And so let's see. Hopefully that's some good housekeeping. My house is a mess, and I'm going to be doing a lot more recording. Oh, JR is here. He says, love that pic in the background. Yeah, so most of our stuff, especially our decor pieces, are already packed up and packed away, and it just so happens that this picture of Kim, this canvas of Kim, has not been packed away yet. One of our pet sitters actually took this picture. One of our pet sitters, Tracy, took this picture a few years ago out on a walk with Kim, and I just loved it so much that I had it put on a canvas. So JR says, my request is that you smile. I do need to work on smiling while I'm talking. I am not great at that, and I am working on it. Yeah, so maybe I will try to keep this decor piece out for a little bit longer and maybe have it in our live videos, since we love it so much. I know I love it. Oh, I just saw my face when I did that. That was not pretty. Okay, so let's get into today's video about vet visits. Now, if you are on Patreon, you already got all of this information this morning. And I know Jennifer, who is one of my patrons on Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's a social media platform that is very different from a lot of other platforms. And the one thing that I love about it more than anything else is that if you sign up for content, you get that content. So like with other social media platforms, they use algorithms and they show you things based on what they think you want to see. And in my opinion, and in my experience, that doesn't always happen. I sign up to receive, I like this page, or I follow this person, whatever it may be, and I may not see their content, like, for long periods of time. I don't like that, which is why I set up a Patreon, because my goal is to help you help your pets. And if you don't get that content that you signed up for, then I can't do my job, right? And here's the thing, like, I know if I sign up for content, I want to get it. And a lot of social media platforms think they know better than you, and I don't like that at all. So that's why I set up a Patreon. I do hope you check it out. It is the first link in the description. But long story short, if you are on Patreon like Jennifer is, you got this content early. And you get my live content early every week, because that's part of being a patron. You get early access to content. And then you get exclusive content on top of that. So, yeah, I hope you do check it out. And I know Jennifer got it this morning because she commented on it. That's why her name was on the top of my head. So let's get right into today's topic. And again, as I'm talking, go ahead and post your comments, post your questions, whether it relates to vet visits or something else with your pets. I'm happy to, comment or answer questions, whatever it may be. I'm going to get through a couple pieces, and then I'm going to come back and check on any comments or questions that you may have, and we'll kind of go back and forth like that. So here's the deal. The reason that this came up, this topic was on my mind for two reasons. One, I have binged the entire library of the Vital Animal podcast, and his Dr. Will Falconer, his last podcast, which was actually early June, was about vet visits and like asking the right questions at your veterinarian. And I hope actually he's doing okay, because he had been posting podcasts every week, and June 7th was the last one. But I know he's in India. He's currently living in India, so there may be things going on there, especially with the excessive heat. And I know sometimes there are internet issues, so that may be part of it. So I hope he's doing okay. But that was the last podcast that he published, and it has been on my mind ever since. Asking the right questions when you go to the veterinarian. And so if you're a diehard fan, you probably know, because we didn't do a live last week. I was out of town at my sister's wedding, which was absolutely beautiful, completely extravagant, and I'm happy for her that she got to do that. But we were out of town, and so I had a pet sitter staying here with Kim and the cats. Great, wonderful. Well, it was actually the first time we used this particular pet sitter, because our normal pet sitter wasn't available. And that was a little unnerving. It's always a little unnerving, right? Everything was fine, right? I mean, everybody's alive, except for my lavender plant. I'm not 100% sure that my lavender plant is going to survive. I'm actually a little bit upset about that, but that's neither here nor there. But the night we got home, Kim was scratching at her left ear like crazy. And I was like, okay, I grabbed the Oxycat, I put some Oxycat in her ear, thinking, it's just a little irritated. The Oxycat will help. And if you don't know what Oxycat is, it's actually a feline essentials product from the two crazy cat ladies, but it is safe for dogs as well. And it helps with, fungus and bacteria, all of that, antifungal, antibacterial. And you can use it in the ears of your cats or dog. And so I put a few drops in her ear thinking, okay, we'll, check on it again in the morning. Well, it got worse. And in fact, on Monday, so we got back on a Sunday night. On Monday, by Monday evening, she was scratching, like she was shaking her head a lot. She was scratching really bad. And when she was scratching, she was kind of like cry whining. And so I knew it was really, really bothering her. She was asking us to rub her ear a lot. And I noticed when I would go rub her ear, she was like doing that cry whining thing. So I called the vet Tuesday. I couldn't get in until Wednesday. Okay. I, kept using the Oxycat Tuesday, thinking, she probably just has an ear infection. Well, we went to the vet Wednesday, and long story short, part of the vet visit didn't go as well as I had hoped, but then there were parts of the vet visit that's like, yes, that's exactly what I expect. So it kind of fueled this live today. Let me tell you, just kind of wrap up the story with Kim before we get into how you can make the most out of your vet visits so I don't leave you hanging, right? So Kim is fine. Her ear, we went in and the vet tech wanted to immediately swab her ears, which is called doing a cytology. So she wanted to swab her ears and, take that swab and put it under a microscope to see if there's any bacteria or fungus or whatever may be going on to find out if the ear is infected. Well, because I had left Kim with a pet sitter, one of my concerns, especially because she was really like doing that cry whining thing, one of my concerns was that she may have a foreign object in her ear, specifically maybe even a foxtail, and those are terrible. If you're in the San Diego area, they're like they're all over San Diego, but that was one of my concerns, and I said no. I would prefer to wait for the doctor to look in her ear in case there's a foreign object. I don't want you sticking Q-tips in her ear if there's a foreign object in there. And of course, the vet tech got an attitude with me and was like, well, the doctor wants us to do this first. And I was like, no, I'm going to wait for the doctor to look in her ear. And long story short, the vet tech had a serious attitude with me, and I just stood my ground because I'm my pet's advocate, right? Like I said no, take it at no. And so we waited a little while. The doctor came in. Here's the thing. My doctor knows me and understands that I take charge of, like, I assume responsibility for my pet's health. And she understands that she is part of the healthcare system for my pets. And, a lot of people don't treat their veterinarians like that, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on, but she understands that. So she came into the exam room, and as soon as she saw me, she's like, okay, now I understand why we didn't do a cytology first. We didn't do the ear swabs first. And I could see it on her face. She came in like, agitated, and then she saw me and was like, oh, okay, I get it. And I'm fine with that. Like, if that's how, whatever. I actually don't love that other people have to go through that and maybe just blindly go along with whatever the vet techs want to do. But that's what happened, basically. And Kim is fine now. There was nothing, like, she looked in her ears. She didn't find any signs of a foreign object in her ears. So we went ahead and after that did the cytology. So, had to take the Q-tip swabs and look at that under a microscope. Didn't find any signs of infection, which she was surprised about because her left ear was incredibly red and inflamed. She said it was really, really hard to get the scope in there to see because it was so inflamed. So, basically, since there was no infection, since there were no foreign objects to be found, the vet was just like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just red and inflamed, and I don't know why. Fortunately, I looked at my vet and I said, I do know why. And she was like, okay, well then I'm going to leave it to you to figure it out, right? So the reason that I know why is because I've been doing a lot of research on something called dysbiosis, and that is an imbalance in the gut. And one of the symptoms is red, itchy, irritated, inflamed skin and ears. And I now know, because I've done all this research, the value of symptoms in our society, right? Whether it be with our dogs or our cats or with us or, our kids, whatever it may be, we have completely lost our value system for symptoms. And I think we need to get back to that, because symptoms tell us that there's something wrong inside the body, right? Something is going on inside the body. And right now, the way our medical system works is that we attack those symptoms and say, let's see what we can do to suppress these symptoms. That's absolutely the wrong thing to do, in my opinion, and in many others' opinions, because symptoms are so valuable. They tell us that there's something wrong in the body. We need to figure out what that is, fix that, and then the symptoms will go away. So if we suppress the symptoms, even if we're trying to fix what's inside the body at the same time, we have no idea if it's working because we suppressed the symptom. And this is also true in dog training, by the way. I find correlations in so many areas, especially when it comes to our pets, because when we suppress a symptom in a behavioral symptom, then we're not addressing the underlying issue, whether that has to do with behavior or whether that has to do with something medical. And so while I came home feeling like, part of me was feeling absolutely horrible because I know her ear is red and inflamed and itchy and she's uncomfortable, and I wanted to so badly relieve that discomfort for her. I know that I need to help her fix her gut. I know that I need to help fix what's going on inside of her body. So fortunately, we came home Wednesday and I thawed out a carton of Answer's raw goat's milk, and she has been eating raw goat's milk twice a day ever since. And within about 36 hours, which I was super surprised, I was shocked. Within about 36 hours, she stopped all the head shaking. She stopped scratching. Her ear, the redness in her ear had, from what I could see, of course, I can't look inside, but the part of her ear that I could see, the redness was gone. So, and my rationale for that is that she was already so healthy because she has been raw fed the entire time we've had her, which she was about 2.5 when we adopted her. So for the past 5.5 years, she has been, actually, has it been 6 years? It might be 6 years, at least 5.5 years that we've had her. She's been raw fed, balanced raw foods, and she thrives, right? So in my mind, I'm just thinking she was already so healthy, and this is not medical advice. I'm just let me throw that in there. But she was already so healthy that it was a lot quicker and easier to help her body heal itself, is what I'm thinking. Now, I'm not saying we're out of the woods. I actually have more that I'm going to be doing with her to help improve her health and increase her immunity. But that's just my story, right? I wanted to finish that story so I didn't leave you hanging as to where Kim is. She's acting totally fine right now. And she has been for a few days, which I'm thankful for. But it was I think this was probably my very first experience at the veterinarian's office where my vet looked at me and said, "You're going to have to figure this out." I came home and I figured it out, and now my dog is fine. That is so empowering, and I want that for you. So let me check in with any comments that I had. So glad you speak your mind, JR says. Yes. I'm working on it, right? I'm working on that. Okay, so that's the story of how we got to today's video. And we're already 20 minutes in, so I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can. So, when we go to the vet, there are different types of vets. And we've talked about this before. There are conventional veterinarians, which are actually allopathic veterinarians is the true term. But I tend to call them conventional vets because I feel like, excuse me, I feel like that's more understood, and that like people know what I mean when I say that. They're allopathic veterinarians, but I tend to call them conventional veterinarians. Some people call them traditional veterinarians. These are veterinarians who are trained in Western medicine, right? So it's, vaccines and pharmaceuticals and kibble. That's what they know. There are integrative veterinarians, and integrative veterinarians, now, when you find somebody who's an integrative, holistic, homeopathic veterinarian, they label themselves this, so you do have to interview your veterinarians and know what you're looking for to make sure you're getting the treatment for your pets that you're intending. An integrative veterinarian uses both traditional, maybe traditional Chinese medicine, a lot of Eastern, right? Like natural medicine in combination with Western medicine. I like this a lot. I think there is a time and a place for pharmaceuticals. I certainly, don't want to put my pet through surgery without anesthesia, right? There is a time and a place for drugs and pharmaceuticals. So there's that, an integrative veterinarian. And there are holistic veterinarians. Now, holistic veterinarians are going to use a lot more natural medicine than an integrative veterinarian. They are going to probably exhaust all possible natural ways that they know of before resorting to Western medicine. I think that's great too. It just depends on where you are, what you want to do, what you feel is going to be best for your pet, what health situation your pet is in. Kim is perfectly healthy, so I feel like I would be totally fine with a holistic veterinarian because I'm not already dealing with issues that I might feel we need to resort to Western medicine for, and it's really, a comfort level for you. Then there are homeopathic veterinarians, and I'm probably missing some. There are probably other types of veterinarians out there. These are the ones that I know of and I'm most familiar with. Homeopathic veterinarians is like a subset of holistic veterinarians in that they probably started out using as much natural medicine as possible, like a holistic veterinarian does, and then they realized that homeopathic medicine interested them, and they got into it more and more and more. Homeopathy is a practice of medicine where basically a long time ago, some scientists got together. I think one person started it, and don't ask me their name because I couldn't tell you. He theorized that if you took a supplement, a mineral, something, generally like a mineral type, something natural in the world, if you ingested it, and you were completely healthy, any symptoms that you got as a healthy person by taking it, that mineral, I'm just going to say it's a mineral because they use a lot of different things, but that's what's coming to mind right now. If you have a person or an animal that is unhealthy, that is exhibiting the symptom that matches what a healthy person would get if they took it, that it would treat it. I'm not saying this right, but anyway, it's a subset of holistic medicine. So those are the four main ones that I know of. And to me, you could use all different types of veterinarians. I love our veterinarians, and I'm getting a little off topic. So choosing your veterinarian wisely is one of the things that I wanted to talk about in today's video, which is why I brought all of that up. But I'm getting a little like long-winded with it, so let me check in with you guys. All right, great. So choosing your veterinarian wisely, and the types of veterinarians, and the fact that you can utilize multiple veterinarians for your animal or animals, because they all bring different things to the table for you, right? But regardless of what type of veterinarian you choose, what type of veterinarian you have for your pet, preparing for your vet visit is paramount, right? So regardless of what you're going into the vet for, the things that you need to be aware of, and you might even want to write them down, because that's what I did before our vet visit with Kim. I wanted to make sure, and it put me like in the right headspace so I could answer any and all questions with confidence when I walked into the veterinarian. And that's another thing. Confidence will take you a lot further in these vet visits. But anyway, being prepared. You might even want to write these things down before your vet visit. And Dr. Judy Morgan actually put out a PDF, because so many people have been going to the vet over the past year and a half and not being able to go inside with their pet. So having all of this stuff written down where you can just hand this paper to your veterinarian when you take your pet in, I think it's the best thing in the world, because it's putting your head, like you're in the right headspace, right, to walk into your veterinarian. So here are some things, regardless of why you're going, that you need to know with confidence, and it should just roll off your tongue when you're asked, right? What your dog is currently eating, right? So their current diet. Any past medical issues that they have had, including allergies, or what's the word I'm looking for? Allergies and sensitivities. That's the word I was looking for, sensitivities. Current medications and supplements. So, for example, a supplement would be anything in addition to their diet. So for Kim, the raw goat's milk is, I guess you could consider it a diet, because it really is excellent nutrition. But I would argue you could also call that a supplement. The Canine Immune Complete that I've ordered for her, which should be getting here any day now, which I'm very, very excited about, is a supplement. Treats could be considered supplements, so you want to know those. If you're giving your dog CBD, if you're giving your dog any vitamins, and like Casaquin, anything like that, those are supplements. So be aware, and even list them all out. This is really, really going to help your veterinarian. And any temperament issues as well, because if your dog is dog reactive like Kim is, my veterinarian needs to know that, because especially if I'm dropping her off, which I don't ever want to do, but if I ever did have to drop Kim off, she needs to know that, so that she's not letting Kim, in the back with another dog, especially if they're not in a kennel, right? Don't put her in a kennel with another dog, and certainly don't let them out, even on leash, around each other, right? You're gonna have a situation on your hands. So any temperament issues, or if you have a dog that really has a super high prey drive and cannot be around cats, right? Your vet needs to know that. Especially, I know a lot of veterinary clinics who have office cats, right? So you need to let your vet know that, even if you're not dropping your dog off, if you're coming in for an exam, you need to let your vet know that ahead of time, because there may be cats wandering around the vet clinic, and you walk in the door with your dog who has a super high prey drive and is going to go after those cats, right? They can take the opportunity to make sure the cats are in the back before you come in for your visit. So that's another thing you need to, it's just going to help, right? So let me check in with you guys again. Jennifer's here. Hello, sorry you're late. No problem, Jennifer. Like I was saying at the beginning of this, and for anybody else just tuning in, when you are a patron over on Patreon, like Jennifer is, you get exclusive content, but you also get early access to content like my live videos on Sundays. So Jennifer already got this information, and she got additional information. So Jennifer, if the helping your dog relax in Dr. Busby's blog about helping your dog relax before a vet visit. That's extra content that you got on Patreon that we're probably not going to get to on today's live. So you get early access to content as well as additional and exclusive content over on Patreon. And I appreciate you very, very much, Jennifer. And I'm so glad Scout is doing well after his neuter this Thursday. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that for you guys. So, okay. In addition, so if you're going in for a well visit with your dog or cat, some additional things that you're going to want to have written down are, what are you going in for? Does your pet need vaccinations or possibly titer testing? And if they've already had all of their puppy vaccinations, I would say, or kitten vaccinations, I would say titer testing, right? As opposed to continuing to vaccinate, because we know that there is a such thing as duration of immunity. But that's not what we're talking about in this video. Do you have any concerns about with your pet, such as appetite or energy levels? Like, is your dog or cat eating more or eating less? Is their energy up? Is their energy down? Are there certain times a day that you're noticing changes in energy? Are there certain times, certain days out of the week that you're noticing differences? All of these different things. Let your pet's doctor, which would be your veterinarian, know about them. Is your pet's urination normal? Are their bowel movements normal? And we've talked about this, guys. And if you're new to my channel, there are lots and lots of videos on this channel about. Well, I say lots of videos. There are at least a couple of videos about your pet's poop, because let's be real, we need to be aware. We need to pay attention to what is coming out of our pet as much as what is going into our pet. Of course, with my dog, I pay attention a lot, but I feel like it's even especially important for our cats, because our cats are so good at hiding when they don't feel well. I have to be paying attention to what is going on in that litter box. And if you're not, you need to be. So if you have any questions about that, I can link you over to that video. Let me know in the chat. So, is their urination normal? Is their poop normal? What's their water consumption like? Very important. We know cats are not great at drinking water to begin with, but if there are changes in water consumption, that is super important for your vet to know about. How's their appetite? And are there any changes in behavior? A lot of people forget about this part when they're going to the vet. They think somehow in your mind, my vet is for medical concerns and not behavioral concerns. But guess what? Behavioral concerns, and literally, if you have asked me a question at all, ever in the history of asking me questions, more often than not, I start with, make sure you have talked about this with your vet first, and then this is what I suggest. Because a lot of times behavioral issues can have an underlying medical issue that is causing them, or aiding in, right? Aiding in these behavioral issues. That happens more often than you can think, or than you might think. So make sure you are discussing any behavioral issues or behavior changes with your veterinarian. Now, if you're going in to the vet for a medical, a concern or a medical issue, you're also going to want to know and have, tell your vet up front. That's why I said there's so many things. Write it all down first. What is your concern, and be as specific as possible. I'm not going to go in and say Kim's itching her ears. I'm going to say her left ear has been bothering her. She is shaking her head a lot. She's scratching at her ear. When she scratches at her ear, she is cry whining. It is very red. She wants us to rub it all the time, but when we rub it, she is cry whining. and I know there's something wrong. This is specifically happening in her left ear, but go ahead and check both of her ears just to make sure. Do you see how much more specific I am saying that versus Kim's ears bothering her, right? So be as specific. And I know this has been going on since Sunday night, but the pet sitter was with her prior to that. We got home Sunday night, so it could have been going on for up to X number of days longer, right? So do you see how much more specific I am in that versus Kim's ears bugging her, right? Be as specific as possible. When you're not specific, your vet has to keep asking you question after question after question. And I mean, that's fine, I guess, but why not be super, super specific? Because if your vet forgets to ask you a question or gets caught up in, something else you're talking about, you might as well have just told your vet everything up front. Be specific. When was the last time your pet ate? That's important. Are they vomiting? If they are, how long has it been happening? How many times have they vomited? Is there any coughing or sneezing or runny eyes? Those are some of the first symptoms that your dog has when they are sick generally. Or cat, by the way. Is your pet scratching or rubbing anywhere, like their ears, their eyes, their feet? Does your pet show any signs of pain or discomfort? If so, where and how long? Are there any changes in their food? Are there any changes in their routine? Are there any changes in their environment? People often miss this as well. Environmental changes, and this could be something like you've moved, you have a roommate that maybe they've been gone for the last week, they're on vacation, or you got a new roommate, or maybe your son went away to college, or these are all environmental changes, right? You got new furniture. That can really, change can really throw some animals out of whack, and it really can stress them out, and that stress can cause physical manifestations of there can be medical issues resulting from that stress. So, you got a new couch, right? That could be something that has triggered stress in your pet. So, these are all environmental changes that we often don't think about, but it really can have a huge effect on our pets. So, all of these, and like I said, the more specific you can be, the better chance your vet is going to have at pinpointing what the issue is. All right, Jennifer says, do you believe after neutering help some with behavior issues? Yeah, it absolutely can. When you neuter your dog, it interrupts their hormones, hormone production. So in male dogs or cats, it can decrease testosterone and other hormones. And so if your dog has behavioral issues, sometimes that decrease in hormone production can help. I don't think we should ever rely on it to fix any behavioral issues, but it can help make your dog a little bit calmer. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have to spay or neuter our animals except for medical necessity. Because when we interrupt hormone production, it can interfere with, we're disrupting the endocrine system. We're disrupting, and when we disrupt one system in the body, we disrupt all systems in the body. So in a perfect world, we would never have to do that. We don't live in a perfect world, right? So, you waited, and I think that's great. Waiting until your dog is fully grown. JR says, I want to know about neutering also. So yes, that decrease in hormone production can help calm your dog. I think, but like I said, I don't think it's something we should rely on for any behavioral issues that our dog is having. I think we should always strive to work with our dog, to let our dog know what behaviors we do expect from them, using positive reinforcement. So I hope that answers your question without going too much off in a tangent. Let's finish up. We're already 40 minutes in. I try to keep these to 30 minutes, guys. I just had so much to say this morning, and we didn't have a live last week, so I guess I'm making up for that. But I do have a lot to record today, so I'm going to try to wrap this up. Know your limits and know your veterinarian's limits. So, like I was saying earlier, when I was talking about taking Kim to the vet, I had an issue with the vet tech. That she hit my wall, right? I'm not going to let you do something to my pet that I think could be detrimental to them. I didn't know if Kim had a foreign object in her ear. I'm not going to let you stick a Q-tip in her ear to do a cytology when I don't know, when you're not going to look in her ear first to make sure there's not, a foreign object or a blockage in her ear. That's me, right? But I also know that my vet has much more extensive knowledge than I do about my pet and their physiology, right? She has, or he, depending on your veterinarian, has much more extensive training and knowledge in the biology of my pet and what symptoms mean a lot of times, right? Now, for me, an allopathic or a conventional veterinarian, their limit is with generally pharmaceuticals. So know your limits, know your vet's limits. That's why at the beginning of this, or the middle of this, I was talking about the different types of veterinarians, because like for me, when we moved to Texas, I already have a holistic veterinarian lined up to take over the pet care, my pet's medical needs, but she's a traveling vet. So I know that if my pets need to go into the office, say for a dental procedure, my holistic vet is not going to be able to do that. So I'm going to need to find another veterinarian, or she'll refer me to another veterinarian who has an office, and that more than likely is going to be a conventional or an allopathic veterinarian who is going to have to work in conjunction with me and my holistic veterinarian, which makes my role even more important in my pet's health, because now I am juggling between two different veterinarians, right? So know your limits, know your vet's limits. That's important. Yes. And so I already told you the story about Kim and how, the vet she basically looked at me and said, you're going to have to figure it out. Because I told her, I said, Kim doesn't have a foreign object in her ear. She has no signs of infection in her ear, but it is super red and inflamed and itchy, and it hurts her to scratch it. That inflammation in her ear tells me that there's something wrong in her body. It's a symptom that has popped up probably due to something called dysbiosis, which is an imbalance in the gut. I don't know that for sure, but I have a pretty strong feeling that that's what's going on. Now, I feel like I got lucky in that I started giving Kim raw goat's milk, and she's feeling so much better. I'm still going to do more, don't get me wrong, and I'm not giving medical advice because I'm not a veterinarian. However, we got lucky in that the first thing I tried so far has worked pretty darn well. And that raw goat's milk is helping to bring her system, her body, her gut back into balance. Now, and what I mean by balance is that in our guts, in your gut, in my gut, in Kim's gut, in my cat's guts, in your pet's guts, right? In their intestines, in their stomach, and inside, there is this symphony of good bacteria and bad bacteria. And the idea is that we want a lot more good bacteria than we have bad bacteria. And it's a constant thing. It's constantly changing, right? So a dysbiosis generally means that there's more bad bacteria than good bacteria. In my opinion, that's what happened with Kim. And that raw goat's milk helped to switch that back to more good bacteria than bad bacteria. So the swelling in her ear, the inflammation in her ear, was a symptom of that. And when that changed, when the good bacteria outweighed the bad bacteria, the inflammation started to recede. That's what I feel like happened. And I'm just glad that it did. And I'm glad that my vet knew enough about me and how I wish to treat my pets that she literally looked at me and said, I'm not going to give you anything because you're going to figure this out. I'm not going to give you any medication because I don't have anything to treat. I don't know what's wrong, so I don't know what to treat, so you're going to have to figure this out. And my vet knew me well enough to say that. So having that relationship with your vet is so, so important, because she could have, if I were anyone else, she could have given Kim a steroid injection or even antibiotics or both, because so many doctors throw antibiotics at everything, right? In reality, that steroid injection, those antibiotics, would have further, I want to say enhanced, but I'm looking for a better word than enhanced. It would have exacerbated the dysbiosis in her body, right? It would have blown out all the bacteria in her gut, right? Because antibiotics don't have, they don't tell the difference in good and bad bacteria. They just get rid of it all. And I would have had to start from scratch, which would have taken a lot longer to heal her from the antibiotics than just going from too much bad bacteria, not enough good bacteria, to more good bacteria and decreased bad bacteria. Would have taken a lot longer. So I'm thankful that this is how it worked out, and I wanted to tell you this story because I think it is so important that we take responsibility in our role in our pet's healthcare. Jennifer says, I understand that is why I have a trainer to start in a few weeks. That's wonderful, wonderful. Jennifer. JR says, if you hire a trainer, should you be there with the dog? Absolutely. I don't like board and train. There's a video on my channel about that. Because here's the thing. More often than not, when we think of training our dog, what's really happening, I know when I go out to somebody's home, I am training the person a whole heck of a lot more than I'm training the dog. And here's the thing. You can't expect change in your life. And in this case, that's a change in your dog's behavior if you don't change. So if you expect your dog to change and you not change, that is not going to work. Like flat out. So you have to learn. You have to learn how to engage and behave with your dog in a way, in a manner that is going to get the behavior from your dog that you want. So absolutely, you need to be there. Jennifer says, yes, the trainer I have coming to our house. Yes, it helped. Wonderful, Jennifer. JR says, thank you for doing this training today. Thank you for being here, JR. Will you be missing any other Sundays of training? Yes. So like I was saying at the beginning, let me pull out my planner here. We are going to be, our plan is the 11th of July, we're going to be traveling. We're going to be on the road to our new home. So I will have an upload on YouTube that day, will not be going live. So yes, I do plan on missing another Sunday of training, and I apologize, but I'm going to be on the road, so there's not much I can do about it. JR says, thanks, Jennifer. Yes, thank you. Jennifer, since Scout on antibiotics from neuter, should I get him some goat's milk? Absolutely, Jennifer. I would say start him on, if you can find Answers raw goat's milk, that's wonderful. If not, if you have any farmers in your area that you can get raw goat's milk from, that is going to be wonderful. Go ahead and start him on that right away. I love raw goat's milk. You can also make your own bone broth. I have a video on my channel about making your own bone broth, but basically, I mean, go to your butcher, go to the grocery store, wherever, get bones. Really any kind of bones, but the bones that have, we want a lot of collagen. So whatever kind of bones you throw in the pot, if you can add some chicken feet to it, you're going to get a ton of collagen from those chicken feet. Make yourself, or make Scout some bone broth. Literally all you're going to do, take your crock pot, your Instant Pot, or if you're just going to do it on the stove, that's fine too. Add your bones, add your chicken's feet, and fill it up to where the water is covering all the bones. Add about half a cup to a cup of apple cider vinegar and start boiling that sucker. You can do it in 5 to 6 hours in the Instant Pot. You can do it in 12 to 18 hours on the stove. If you're doing it on the stove, you're going to keep having to add more water to it, which is fine. You can do that. And when you're done, strain all the bones and everything else out of it. That broth that you're left with, oh my gosh, is so yummy, so delicious. It's going to help rebalance the bacteria in your dog's gut. I would also say, I mean, there are other things you can do, and I can actually maybe even plan on doing another video about that specifically. Jennifer says, I have some bone broth in the freezer. Great. Just make sure it is not for humans, because a lot of times when, like, if you make bone broth for yourself or if you buy it, they'll use onions in it to make it more flavorful. We do not want onions in it. So just make sure whatever bone broth you're using was not made with onions, and you should be good to go. You can even add some mushrooms into your bone broth. That's going to help. Or you can make a mushroom broth. That's going to be wonderful too. But I would say, specifically for this, let's get as much collagen out of those bones as possible. Jennifer, yes, I made it with bones and chicken feet about a month ago. Wonderful. Thanks. I will get some and give to him. Yeah, let's go ahead and get him started on that, because it is, honestly, when you give antibiotics to it's going to take a while to undo what the antibiotics are doing to his gut. So this isn't something that, like, you can do it for a week and you're fine. I would say, I mean, every animal is different, and it's not going to hurt them to continue doing this longer than necessary, and I say that in quotations. So just keep doing this for a while, a month, 2 months. I mean, you can even make it part of his regular diet here going forward. That's what I'm doing with Kim, because I don't want this to happen to her again. She was so uncomfortable. I don't want this to happen to her again. Jennifer says no onions. Wonderful. Perfect. So, guys, we have been on here almost an hour. I cannot believe it. It doesn't even feel like it. But I do have to go because I have 9 other videos to record today. And I still have to eat lunch. So thank you so much for being here. I really, really hope this was informative and helps you out. I think I probably included a lot more in this than just the vet visits part, but that's fine because I wanted to get you, the whole story. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. Again, if you are a father, happy Father's Day. If you are a dog dad, happy Father's Day to you too. I know my husband, he is a father, so he talked to his kids today, and hopefully he has a wonderful Father's Day, and Kim and the cats got him cards. So happy Father's Day, and yeah, I will see you guys live again next Sunday. Don't forget, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, look down there at that subscribe button. Make sure if it is red, you want to click it and turn it gray. Once it is gray, a bell will appear. Click the bell and select all notifications so that YouTube can notify you if I publish a video or if I'm going live. Also, make sure to check the first link in the description to my Patreon, because you get all new and exclusive content over there, plus first access to any content that I put here on YouTube. yeah, thank you so much for being here today, and I will see you guys live next Sunday. Bye.